Mora to the bump tonight for his first collegiate start, his second collegiate appearance. Good evening and welcome into the show. Yet again, Tim Stromble with you. Happy to be with you today for some beautiful baseball at Triton Ballpark. Temperatures hovering around 70 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. No El Nino here, as the weather could not be more perfect for baseball. Let's go ahead and get you the lineups on both sides. We'll start offensively with the University of Texas Permian Basin Falcons, as penciled in by Brian Ranke in his 11th season. Getting ready to step into the box right now, number 3 center fielder Latrell Harris. He's hitless on the season so far, an 0 for 8. He started in 2 of the 4 games for the Falcons. Doug Clapperton, the left fielder, hitting .333, will hit second. Alex Fernandez, part of the 2 Fernandez brothers on the team, both out of Miami, Florida, will be hitting third and fourth. Alex, the second baseman, as the bunt attempt is fouled straight back. Alex, the older brother, at second base, hitting third, a .500 average. He's 2 for 4 on the season technically, with a double and an RBI, so not a lot of sample sizes on either side of the lineup for either team, as we're so young into the season. The 0-1 pitch is going to be laced into right center field and down. Nice little leadoff single for Latrell Harris to get his night underway. And one batter in, we have our first hit of the night. So Mike Fernandez hitting .500, the sophomore first baseman. Jordan Zazulak, junior, hitting 4 for 9 on the season, .444. Kevin Barnes, the right fielder, hitting 6. Tyler Houlihan looking for his first hit of the season. He's 0 for 6. He's hitting 7th. Brian Van Vraken, the catcher, number 27. He's a senior behind the dish, hitting 8th. And Randall Toribio, the senior, hitting .714 out of the 9-hole, 5 for 7 already on the season with 3 RBI. So Coach Brian Ranke loving the production he's getting out of his senior shortstop in Toribio. Talk about the defensive setup and the battery for Permian Basin when they take the field in the bottom half of the first. As for now, Kyle Mora gets set to bring home the 0-1, checks over to first. Tag thrown on by Tyler Durna. No good. Durna, we'll talk about in just a second as well, making his first collegiate start for the Tritons. As we wait for the 1-0. Steele is on, throw down to second on a hop, no good. Vince Morey scooping it, keeping it out of center field. So that's going to be a stolen base out the bat for Latrell Harris. That's his 3rd of the season. He's now 3 for 3 in just over 4 games. So definitely not ideal letting Harris reach base to get the game underway. Put yourself under pressure early on. Either way, Kyle Mora with an 0-2 count here now to Doug Clapperton, the left fielder, hitting .333 as I mentioned earlier, 3 for 9 on the season, a double, 4 RBI. So he comes in leading with 4 RBI, most on either team so far this season. Gets the defensive setup right now for UC San Diego and the Tritons, going from left to right in the outfield. Left fielder Grady Sanchez, a senior, the only senior in the starting defensive lineup for the Tritons, a team that's really poised to have success over the next couple years with so much young talent. The 1-2 from Mora, fastball on the inside over to Hearn, who checks the runner and throws over to first, 1 away here in the top of the first. Latrell Harris will stay at second, so he'll still be in scoring position for Alex Fernandez, who comes in hitting .500, just 2 for 4 with a double and an RBI to his credit. No one in the Texas Permian Basin lineup tonight has started and played in all 4 games. There are 2 players who have appeared in all 4 games. Other than that, everyone's had at least 1 game off for the Falcons. Continue the defensive lineup for the Tritons from left to right. I mentioned Grady Sanchez hitting .375 out in left field. Junior Brendan Shirley in center. Junior Jack Larson in right. They're your 3 outfielders. Also 1 through 3 in your lineup tonight for head coach Eric Newman, as Mora brings home the 0-0 pitch. Bounced in the dirt, but blocked by Stephen Coe, the sophomore catcher. Head around the infield over to third base, the junior J.D. Hearn. Shortstop, the seasoned veteran junior Tyler Housley. who's off to a much better offensive start this season than he was a year prior. Tonight marking his 60th consecutive start for the Tritons. He started and played in all 57 games for the Tritons last season, all at shortstop. Now starting the first 3 of this season. 1-0 is on the outside corner for a strike. Nice two-seam from Kyle Mora.
He doesn't throw a two-seam.
So that's the left side of the infield. The right side of the infield, Vince Morey, who's hitting 2 for 8 on the season. A home run and an RBI, the lone home run so far for UC San Diego. He's a junior, but this is his first year with the Tritons after transferring in. Check back to second, no good. Latrell Harrison, no problem. And then over at first base, Tyler Plantier making his second start of the season. And his first start against the Masters College went 1 for 4 with an RBI. Plantier just a sophomore as the what looked like a changeup. Looked like a little changeup. That's where I go for the guys up in the booth here. Kyle, he's throwing a two-seam fastball, changeup, and then a slider. Thought so. Remember him from the Masters College debut. 3 innings pitched in that first appearance as we await the 1-2. Swing and miss. Kyle Mora dials up the strikeout, and so far so good. He's working around that leadoff single from Latrell Harris.
33, Mike Fernandez.
That'll bring up Mike Fernandez, the 500 hitting sophomore. He's only 2 for 4 on the season, so a small sample size. This is just his 3rd start and appearance, and now 5 games for Permian Basin. So the sophomore Tyler Plantier, son of pitcher Phil Plantier, as that one's going to scoot away and get out into the outfield. The throw is going to be made over to third, but nowhere near in time, especially with the speed of Latrell Harris, so he is in safely. And the error will likely go to Kyle Mora on the bump for the poor throw into second base.
That guy at third
So he introduced
second, doesn't matter.
Almost the entire infield. Behind the dish today, Stephen Coe making his second start for Coach Newman and the Tritons. He's played now in all 3 games, however, just a sophomore. This is really the biggest amount of playing time Stephen will have seen. Played sparingly last year. And now the staff, which was certainly one of the best in the nation last season, sees a ton of turnover this year as Mora gets set to bring home the 0-1 to Fernandez. Fastball misses away. One of the best staffs in the season in the NCAA last year loses its ace to the Major League Baseball draft. Number 2 starter to graduation. And so far the number 3 starter has been out. Kind of slow to get into the heat of the season with injury problems. Now a 2-1 count upcoming to Fernandez. So Stephen Coe behind the plate. Kyle Mora, I mentioned his name a couple of times. Just his first collegiate start. That fastball is going to be away. Certainly with a guy like Kyle Mora, he's young. The Tritons have 6 games in 72 hours. So it's a lot to ask for a young pitching staff that's down a handful of arms from last season. This is his second appearance of the year. First one, 3 innings pitched, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and no hits. That one's going to be in the dirt.
That's fine.
So a 3-1 walk surrendered to Mike Fernandez.
Now batting designated hitter, number 44, Jordan Zazula.
No one overly hurt there. And still 2 away. Stephen Coe comes out and signals the defense to the infielders. My guess, just in case Mike Fernandez goes down to second, they're on the same page as how they're going to play this. And, of course, their lineup for the Tritons tonight penciled in by 5th-year head coach Eric Newman. A college graduate of the Lone Star State, Texas. Check swing on a fastball away. Was in the strike zone the whole time. And Mora will jump ahead of the count 0-1. Hitting in the 5-hole tonight, as mentioned earlier, Jordan Zazulak, junior, starting in his 4th game out of 5 now. He's 4 for 9 on the season, a pair of doubles and a pair of RBI, so certainly a dangerous hitter. As you'll notice the writing on the backs of the jerseys from Permian Basin. UTPB, University of Texas Permian Basin, they're the Falcons. So first and third here, 2 outs. Mora at the belt. That one's dug out of the dirt nicely by Stephen Coe. All the runners stay where they are. Count's going to be 2-1. Latrell Harris over at third. Mike Fernandez at first. It's Zulak, your batter. The 2-1. Ground ball into the gap. Tyler Housley's going to have to go the long way. Strong arm Housley. Guns him down at first base. Tell you what, Tyler Housley, that's not a play he makes his freshman year. Didn't have the arm strength. Now he does. And the Tritons strand 2 in the top of the first in the conference. We'll get to you in just a second as Mora brings home the first pitch. It's going to hop to Tyler Housley, and he'll throw it to Plantier. Oh, excuse me. Plantier's the DH. I'm used to seeing him kind of rotate in from last season. Tyler Durna over at first squeezes that one. That's one away here in the top of the second. Back-to-back putouts for Tyler Housley. And that'll certainly help you on the mound, especially as a freshman pitcher, to get groundouts on the first pitch of an inning. Tyler Houlihan steps in.
Okay.
Houlihan still looking for his first hit on the season. He's 0 for 6, but he has drawn a walk and scored 3 runs, so he's been productive in other areas of the stat line. The 1-0, 2-seam in there for a strike. In and around the conference, Cal Baptist taking on Cal State Dominguez Hills, opener of a 3-game split venue series down here in Southern California. Cal Baptist taking the first of this 3-game set, 3-0 over Dominguez Hills, the CCAA component of that game.
Text.
And here's the 1-1 to Houlihan. 2-seam in there for a strike as well. Elsewhere, Cal State LA dropped the decision 3-0 to Point Loma in an opener of a 4-game split venue series. And almost running concurrent tonight as the 1-2 pitch comes in. It's fouled down the third baseline. Cal State Monterey Bay at Azusa Pacific. So down here in San Diego for a 4-game set. There in the top of the 6th. Azusa Pacific holding a 2-0 advantage. So not good overall for the CCAA as Monterey Bay, Cal State LA, and Dominguez Hills either losing or behind here this evening. The 1-2. Slider on the outside corner for a strike. Second strikeout of the night for Kyle Mora.
Catcher, number 27, Brian Van Valken.
Good placement on that tight slider. Seemed as if Houlihan thought that was going to break out of the zone and had just enough bite to stay in, and no more than that. So that'll bring up Brian Van Vrenken, the senior catcher, grounds over to third, off the glove, and to Housley. Hurd with the catch. Wow, what a play for Housley.
No runs, and we head to the bottom of the second, 0-0.
That ball bounced off the glove of Hearn and went to Housley at short and was thrown over to Durna just in the nick of time. So we'll go ahead and score that a 5-6-3. And the Tritons turn away the Falcons here in the second. Take a break for just a moment. Be back with you on UCSD Tritons. Now, the Tritons had a 36-21 overall record after they were knocked out by Cal Poly Pomona, regular season and tournament CCAA champion. And Pomona was able to make it out to the NCAA championships. Turning the page to the top of the third here, it'll be Randall Toribio, the shortstop, with a 1-0 count already. He takes that one for a ball, 2-0. Latrell Harris and Doug Clapperton at the top of the lineup will be your 1-2-3. As the 2-0 misses away. So 3-0 to Toribio. And Kyle Mora, worth noting again, just a true freshman, comes in and throws 4 out of the zone to get the top of the third underway. Certainly not something you like to see out of your true freshman. Perhaps the strategy is to get someone on base in front of Latrell Harris so he can't steal bases, but I doubt that's what head coach Eric Newman was thinking up in the dugout. So we'll see how the kid responds. That's his 4th walk already of the season in just 5 innings. Toribio at first base is yet to have a stolen base attempt. And that's 5 out of the zone. So with every ball thrown out of the zone, as a pitcher, you see the strike zone shrinking. Wouldn't be surprised to see Stephen Coe just set up almost down the plate here and say, bring me a fastball, kid. The 1-0. And that is what happened. Fastball right down the middle, taken for a strike by Harris, who is 1 for 1 on the night, representing the only hit of the night so far for Permian Basin. That was to lead off the top of the first single that landed in right center field. Check over to first, no good. Interesting to see how both teams play this, especially with the 6 games scheduled for both sides. Kyle Mora, 3 innings pitched in his first appearance, as opposed to Chris Cano, 6 innings pitched. So he seems like he'd be more likely to go further. This is going to be a tough push bunt over to Vince Morey, and bang bang play is just in time to get Harris, who thought he beat it out. Fantastic push bunt for Latrell Harris, and he's going to probably beat out a number of those this season, you would think. But fortunately for the Tritons, they were able to make the play, and Vince Morey with a good putout. He had to wait for Randall Toribio to clear him going to second before he could make the play. And that'll bring up Doug Clapperton, who grounded out to third base. And his first at-bat, Clapperton with the 4 RBI leading the team. This is a ground ball over to Vince Morey, who stays down. No, it boots it. And runner is going to check at third. Vince Morey saw that go off the heel of his glove.
There.
Fortunately for the Tritons, it basically stayed right where it was. He was able to recover, but that's going to be the second error already.
Second baseman, number 21, Alex Fernandez.
On the night for the Tritons. Typically a team that is year in and year out one of the top defensive teams in the CCAA, sometimes the nation. But a couple errors early on in this game. And the 3-hole hitter in Alex Fernandez stepping into the plate. First pitch misses across the plate. Stephen Coe doing a great job just stabbing that one. Toribio on third. Clapperton on first. Infield, double play depth. Outfield basically playing straight up. And the 1-0 from Mora is going to be the old third to first move, which I was making fun of, or making light of, I guess, the last game we did against the Masters College, until a UCSD Triton got caught in it late in the game. So I had to stop making fun of that move for a little bit, I guess. The 1-0. Runner takes off. Stephen Coe throws all the way down to second. It's going to bounce off the runner. 1 run's going to come in to score, as Toribio was standing and waiting for anything bad to happen on that play. Something bad does happen. It's the 3rd error of the night already in just 3 innings of baseball. And Texas Permian Basin strikes first here in the top of the 3rd and now have a 1-0 lead. So stolen base will be given to Clapperton with an error on the throw along the run to score, would be my guess. So 2 errors in the inning produce a run for Texas Permian Basin, who has not gotten a hit in this inning. That one fouled down the third baseline, so not a lot more frustrating as a head coach to see the other team not have a hit and still able to score a run in an inning. So the Tritons not very defensive sound here in the top of the third, but only one run in and one away. So still a chance for Kyle Mora to get his team back into the dugout with minimal damage if he can do some control. Runner takes off going to third. Stephen Coe has to double and triple pump. No throw will be made. The pitch was a ball out of the zone, so another stolen base for Doug Clapperton, who came in 2 for 2. It is now 4 for 4 on the season. And Fernandez has the second run for Permian Basin just 90 feet away. The 2-2. Laced up the middle, and that's going to be down out in front of center fielder Brandon Shirley. And that'll be it. Second run across the board for Permian Basin as Alex Fernandez picks up his first RBI of the season. No, his second, excuse me. And Permian Basin, a 2-run lead, able to cash in on both of the Triton mistakes that were made in this inning, the walk and the error by second baseman Vince Morey. And a little action will start down in the Triton bullpen. I see true freshman Nick Kitzman heading down there, a 6'2", 185-pound freshman at a Santa Ynez Valley High School. He's strapping on the shin guard, so I don't think he's the pitcher that's coming in. We'll keep an eye out and get you a number when we see anybody warming up down there. Either way, Mike Fernandez, the first baseman for Permian Basin, about to step in. That's an RBI single. Score that for Alex Fernandez as I get my score sheet updated. Fernandez drew a walk back in the first. As Permian Basin lead the Tritons 2-0. Who is? First pitch missed, the 1-0 on the way to Fernandez. In there for a strike. So number 43, Tim Nelson, a right-hand pitcher / infielder, 5'9", $165 freshman out of Chino Hills. As the 1-1 from Mora saws off Fernandez at the plate, 1 ball, 2 strikes. So it looks like Tyler Derna and Tim Nelson, both graduates from Ruben S. Ayala High School in Chino Hills. A couple high school teammates making their way to the same college. That's pretty cool. And stepping out is Fernandez. Mora finally sees it, and he steps off himself. Still 1 away here. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Permian Basin striking first with 2 runs here in the top of the third. They have a 2-0 lead as Mora gets set to bring home the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Kyle Mora with his 3rd strikeout of the night.
Now batting designated hitter, number 44, Jordan Zazula.
And that'll bring up Jordan Zazulak, who grounded out to a very nice play made by Tyler Housley to end the top of the first. See if Mora can put a close to this inning and limit the damage to just 2 here. As a big swing and a miss from Zazulak. The game tonight is the first of a 13-game homestand for the Tritons to get the season underway as the 0-1 misses away. As long as there are no weather delays, this would be the 3rd longest homestand in the Division II era for UCSD baseball, behind 2 other opening season stretches of 18 and 14. So 13 games, a great way to get your season started. And where else would you rather come play baseball in February than San Diego? My guess is teams like Texas Permian Basin and the Masters College. Gotta love coming down to San Diego, especially this early in the season. As Zazulak awaits the 2-1, and that fastball is going to miss. A little misstep from Mora on the plant foot, possibly push that one out of the zone. And the count moves to 3-1. The 3-1. And that fastball is going to miss. Another walk. That's the 3rd walk of the night in just 3 innings. And I see another pitcher going down to start tossing for the Tritons. So obviously Coach Newman looking to get everything out of every pitcher he can. We'll see how the inning unfolds with Mora. It doesn't seem like anyone's ready. Guys just stretching a little bit. And his first pitch in for Mora, fastball outside part of the plate, in for a strike to Kevin Barnes, who led off the top of the second with a ground ball to Tyler Housley for the putout. It is 0 for 1 on the afternoon. Barnes came in hitting just .222 as a senior right fielder. Now an even .200 on the season. This is going to be another one to Tyler Housley, who's going to have to go to first for it, and does so in time. So Texas Permian Basin strikes first with 2 off of 2 errors and 1 hit for the Falcons. We'll take a break and jump to the bottom of the 3rd when we get back on UCSDTritons.com. There's no action in the bullpen for Permian Basin, as we are just in the top of the 4th. First pitch offering is going to be bunted down the third baseline foul by Tyler Houlihan. It's going to be Tyler Houlihan, Brian Van Vranken, and Randall Toribio. Your 1, 2, 3 for Permian Basin will be 7, 8, 9 in their batting order. Houlihan struck out looking in his first at-bat back in the second, has an 0-1 count here against Kyle Mora, who has come back out for the 4th inning. Filled up the strike zone now on the first 2 pitches, so much better start here in the 4th. Making some in-game adjustments. Obviously, the Tritons would love to see some more innings out of the arm of Mora. The 0-2, slider of the dirt, swing and a miss. Stephen Coe will have to chuck it down to first base. He does. Dernis squeezes it down at the 1 bag, and 1 away here in the top of the 4th. Back-to-back strikeouts for Houlihan, courtesy of Kyle Mora. Mora now with 4 strikeouts, 1 in each inning so far. Came in to today with 2 strikeouts in 3 innings. So that slider certainly has the ability to put the offensive hitter away, and he's proven that with his location. Brian Van Vranken, the senior catcher, who would have had an infield single in his first at-bat if not for a fantastic play in combination by J.D. Hearn and Tyler Housley. As the 1-0 is in there for a strike. Ball hit over to Hearn at third base. Bounces off the glove of Hearn while in the 6th hole. Housley ranges over, scoops it up, throws it over to Tyler Derna for the out. Fantastic play. Ended the 2nd inning. That one's going to be in the dirt. No need for a block, but Coe tried to block it. 2 balls, 1 strike now. Scoreboard reading 2 apiece. 2 hits for Texas Permian Basin, 3 hits for UC San Diego. The big one on the scoreboard, though, 3 errors for the Tritons so far. Very non-UCSD-like, as this one is laced into left field. It's deep, back towards the wall, and see you later. Brian Van Vranken leaves the yard. His first home run of the year, 3rd RBI, and just like that, Texas Permian Basin jumps back in the lead. They're now up 3-2. And perhaps that's a pitch you can get away with in high school ball, an up-and-in fastball that you mistakenly throw in a bad location, but especially at the collegiate level, that's a pitch you're not going to see a lot of players miss, as that was right in his wheelhouse home run zone. Van Vranken, who's a senior, has seen that pitch numerous times, I'm sure, throughout his entire collegiate career. Takes that 1 yard. And you don't see a ton of nighttime home runs here at Triton Ballpark, especially in back-to-back innings. But that's exactly how the last 3 runs were scored, now 3-2 for the Falcons. Toribio steps in, the 1-1 pitch in there for a strike. Toribio walked to get the top of the third underway and then ultimately came around to score on the throwing error from Stephen Coe, I believe. And the 1-2 misses well outside. Still some ginger throwing down in the bullpen. Nothing too crazy. Nice and light. Meant to get you those CCAA changes in the top of the fourth here, but obviously the home run kind of pushed that back. I'll get to it just in a second, though. Okay, there we go. So the 2-2 as that one's fouled into the bullpen, and a nice play made by the Triton pitcher who's warming up with the catch. Doesn't count, though. So I mentioned that the CCAA added a 13th member, now has 12 teams in baseball, because Humboldt State does not have a baseball team. So the CCAA conference, as here comes the 2-2, misses across the plate, but bailed out by the hitter and going to be fouled on the first base line. So the CCAA divided the conference into 2 sides, the North and the South, Civil War style. So now when you're playing inside of your conference, so when the Tritons are playing Southern California teams like LA, San Bernardino, Pomona, it'll be a 4-game series. As here comes the 2-2. And that's just going to be lined over to Vince Morey, who's right there for the second out here in the top of the fourth.
Now batting center fielder, number 3, Latrell Harris.
That'll turn things over to Latrell Harris, who's 1 for 2. So 6 teams in the North, 6 teams in the South. When you're playing in your conference, so South playing South or North playing North, it's a 4-game set. When you're playing out of conference, just 3 games. So whenever the Tritons have to go out of town up to the northern part of California, it'll be a 3-game set. Vice versa, when Northern California comes down here, 3 games. However, the 4-game sets versus Southern California opponents will stay in place, mostly home and away, are those series. As the 0-1 to Harris is a fastball in the inside corner for a strike. So it'll be interesting. They also added the top 3 teams from both sides of the CCAA conference. So top 3 from the North, top 3 from the South reached the CCAA playoffs. It was formerly 4 teams, though 2 misses away and below. So it was previously 4 teams in the conference playoffs. This year it will be 6. And I'll be interested to see in years future if they change the top 3 rule to the top 2 and then have 2 wild cards, much like you see in Major League Baseball. That seems interesting. As the 1-2 comes in, fouled behind the first base dugout. Well, certainly that would make sense if you take into account the top 4 teams in Northern California might be better than the third place team in Southern California. So it's something to pay attention to. I don't know if they're going to do it yet. The 1-2 misses low, but certainly worth considering, and it wouldn't surprise me in coming years if that was a transition that was made. Two's across the board now. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Latrell Harris. Bases are empty. 2 away. Swing and a miss. 5th strikeout of the night for Kyle Mora, as he surrenders just the solo home run to Brian Van Vranken, but Texas Permian Basin jumps back in the lead. They're up 3-2 after 3.5 innings on UCSDTritons.com.